Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. We're coming up on 4 weeks since that toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. The EPA pledging to hold Norfolk Southern Railroad accountable as Governor Mike DeWine makes his way back to the site again today. For more on this, let's welcome in former EPA Chief of Staff and Senior Policy Analyst for the Independent Women's Forum, Mandy Gunasekara, and East Palestine residents Tammy and Rick Chai. It is great to have you all on. We appreciate you being with us. Tammy, Rick, I'd like to start with you. You've lived in East Palestine for the last 2 decades. Take us through what the last 4 weeks have been like.
Well, the first night, it was very shocking that something like this actually happened in town. And then after that, it was just like a ball of confusion that kept gaining steam. And it's still at that point where most people are confused as to what is actually going on and how this is going to impact our lives going down the road. We don't have a lot of answers, and there's still a lot of questions.
Okay, Mandy, EPA Director Michael Regan speaking for the first time yesterday since Texas A&M researchers said the chemicals could pose really scary long-term health risks to residents. Take a listen.
Yes, we have taken a look at that article, and what I would say is, we understand based on the testing that we've done, the concern about both short-term and long-term impacts. So we didn't learn anything new from that article. But I want to be clear that our testing, air quality testing, and the state's water quality testing has not yielded any adverse health impacts that we have seen at this moment.
That seems to go against what residents are saying. They're saying that even though the cleanup is happening, people are still getting sick.
Yeah, that's right. And I was listening to an interview last night from someone who had what they're calling Mickey Mouse syndrome. Their voice had changed. They clearly had been exposed to some type of chemicals. And so, yeah, it's going to be hard for the residents to trust what the EPA is saying because they didn't show up when it really mattered. And their communication, even up until this point, has been lackluster at best. So EPA does have robust testing mechanisms, but they need to make sure they are doing those regular, they are doing them often, and they are clearly communicating those results to the residents. Because if they do not own the communication space, other sources can come in, and that's where people can rightfully get scared. And you do not want fear to overtake this bad situation. So it is vital for EPA to stay on top of this and to stay in touch with the local residents. But again, my heart goes out to the local residents, and they are absolutely right to be skeptical and ask questions because for so many weeks, this administration tried to ignore them and did not provide the resources they needed from the very beginning.
Rick, are you getting the help you need?
No. First of all, you said the cleanup. They haven't touched our creek. They say that they cannot touch any outside area until after they fix the crash area. Meanwhile, I turned rocks over in my creek. In our creek here and chemicals, there's a video of it right there. Why can't they multitask and do that? And secondly, the EPA, Texas A&M and Carnegie Mellon teamed up and tested our air and found that higher levels, 9 chemicals that contradicts the EPA. So they say trust the science. Well, I trust Texas A&M and Carnegie Mellon. And lastly, Deborah Shore, the person from the EPA in charge of our district, says that she won't test for dioxin levels because she doesn't know what they were before. She just set a precedent for every drunk driver in Ohio. They can get out now and say, officer, I refuse to let you test my blood alcohol level because you don't know what it was yesterday.
Wow. Rick, can I just ask you what we're looking at? You sent us this video. This is the creek not far from where you live. This is disturbing.
I was just in there Thursday. The rumor is it's butyl acrylate, which Cardinal Labs, the independent EPA lab near us, says there's no EPA certified test for. So how do we even know if that's in our wells?
Yeah. Okay. Mandy, Rick, Tammy, I want you to listen to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. He went to East Palestine last week, a day after Donald Trump went to East Palestine, but he was asked about Joe Biden maybe going to Ohio. Take a listen.
Now that you have been to East Palestine and you've seen the devastation firsthand, it's his decision ultimately, but I have to ask you, do you think that President Biden should visit and speak with families there?
Well, what I know is he's been very concerned throughout this process about what the people of East Palestine are going through. I think also a visit at that level can sometimes have a lot of disruptive effects, so would need to be thought of carefully. But I'm certainly glad that I went.
All right, Mandy, we'll start with you. Do you buy that as an excuse?
No, I don't. This administration has not been truthful from the start. And it would make a big difference if President Biden actually showed up, because I think what's missing is public trust. And for him to try and restore it, he needs to show up, he needs to talk to the people, and he needs to actually do his job. So I don't buy anything that Secretary Buttigieg was suggesting there.
Tammy, same question to you.
At this point, I really don't care, truthfully. I want him to push the EPA, though. I stopped at the community center, or the welcome center is what they're calling it, the EPA set up. And I asked the man, I said, why are they not testing for dioxins? And his answer was, well, it's like if you have a barbecue, a charcoal barbecue going outside. And I said, stop, just a minute. I said, we did not have a barbecue. We had 1.1 million pounds of vinyl chloride burned off. And we want to know if that's settled in our area. I had a person ask me this morning, saying, you know, this stuff is going in our creeks and it's going downstream and it's affecting communities down the road.
Yeah,
Why
really
can't we fix
scary.
it now?
My goodness.
He looks to me like the guy that took over for Bob Vila, this old house, the guy that didn't know what was going on. He's just in there for a photo op.
Yeah, and here we go. Friday will mark a month since this thing happened. I want you to know, Tammy, Rick, we're going to stay on top of this story. Mandy, we appreciate you joining us. We appreciate the expertise. We will continue to cover this story until you have the answers and the support that you need out there in East Palestine. Thanks for being with us.